6 stanzas and 2 lines that are repeated throughout the poem, becoming a couplet at the end. And it's entitled Breathe. Love, so potent, is a lot like death. We can struggle and fight, but in the end, we all lose our breath. Not unlike wicked Lady Macbeth, we can stumble away from the light. Love, so potent, is a lot like death. Even one so bold, like a man from Nazareth, could lose his way, become lost in the night. Because in the end, we all lose our breath. Love, it must have the side effects of meth, a drug with such a dangerous height. Love, so potent, is a lot like death. I've kept count. I'm on my 50th, stutter, gasp, and hiccup tonight. In the end, we all lose our breath. I pity poor Lady Macbeth, because her love dragged her from the light. Love, so potent, is a lot like death. In the end, we all lose our breath. The second poem is called Brave. They called me bitch, I said to my mother, who wrinkled her nose and curled her lip. Why did they call you that? She asked like she already knew the answer. They called me bitch, itch with a B, itch you can't scratch, because I'm not cool or funny or thin. I watch anime, I write and draw, I'm fat. When I tried to defend myself, they called me bitch. Defense makes you weak. You're supposed to ignore. You're supposed to sit back, wait for them to get bored. Defend yourself, fight back. Say the same damn things that they do. That only makes you a bitch. My mother laughed. She laughed, and she giggled, and she bellowed. Darling, she said, be a bitch. Stand up for who you are. Be a bitch, knock them all down. Because there's nothing wrong with being a bitch with a brain. There's nothing wrong with being brave. And my flash fiction is entitled Narc. My father, my dad, my daddy. He wears a ratty sweatshirt, rocking a mullet, business in the front, party in the back, right? Looking not unlike the men who stand in the alleys on the boardwalk, the ones he said I shouldn't go near, the ones he said were the reason I had to stay with him. If it weren't for that white mask hiding his face, keeping his air clean, and those rubber gloves stained with oil or mud, I don't really know. It could be an easy thing to think he's one of the men hiding in those alleys. It could be easy to think he's a dad who protects his family by getting in the business of the deep, dark boardwalk and the men named Junebug, who always beckon to the teens with a full wallet and hatred for their parents. If it weren't for that little gold shield pinned to his chest, the one that can't quite shine like it's supposed to, people would think his job was a lot different. Father, dad, daddy, he stands in front of a white bookshelf beside a black trash bag. He holds a bale, a box-shaped thing he said weighed 50 pounds or more. A green rectangle he happened to find that day after kicking down a door. The grown-ups behind it weren't very grown up, he'd said, after coming home and scooping me up in his arms. He would have barked orders, his voice harsh, unforgiving, a voice he never used on me, never on brother, not even when I broke my snow globes or when brother got a bad grade. He would be holding a silver and black 9mm Smith & Wesson. It would catch the light and reflect in the eyes on the man wearing blue beside him. My father, my dad, my daddy, he'd have his shoulder pressed against the wall and he would say, "Open the door." He would use words I wasn't allowed to use. The men inside, they would be hurrying to grab their guns, their cheap plastic Glocks, the ones that don't work as well as my daddy's Smith & Wesson, the gun I wasn't allowed to shoot, allowed to touch. They'd be running about, hiding the plants they grew, hiding the bales they made of the plants, hiding the smoking rolls of paper. When the door wouldn't open, my father, my dad, my daddy, he would kick the door in, kick the door down, walk right through the door, and the men would fall to their knees at the sight of the shiny silver gun in my father's hands, no bang necessary. They would hold their hands to their heads, and they would say more words I wasn't allowed to say. Sharp words, cutting words, words that spit and bite and scratch. But they wouldn't pierce my father's skin, or the men around him, the ones wearing blue. My father, my dad, my daddy, he would slap pretty silver bracelets around the bad men's wrists, and he would search like my dog searches for scraps I dropped on the floor during dinner. He would know what he's looking for. He would find it fast. Father, dad, daddy, he knows the game. He knows that these men can't play chess like he and I do on the weekends. The closet first, on that bookshelf, checkmate. My dad, underneath that white mask, he would grin so proud, and he would slip his gun into the waistband of his jeans, while all the other men put them in their leather holsters. He would grab the 50-pound bale with one hand, like it weighed less than I did. A man in blue would laugh. A flash would go off for evidence. Sure, for evidence. A flash would go off, and a Polaroid picture would spill out, one that would hang in my father's daddy's office, one that would be left blank, dates unfilled, questions left unanswered unless you ask the right person. Trust me, I'm the right person. A Polaroid would flutter to the floor. Don't touch it, wait for it to dry. It'll smudge the past, ruin the history, blur the future. My father, my dad, my daddy, he'll be holding up a green bale in front of a white bookshelf beside a black trash bag. He'll look like the dealers in the alleys on the boardwalk. He'll look like a thug except for his mask, except for his gloves, except for his shield. A flash would go off, and unless you ask the right person,